Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass on investigating crypto scams and frauds. So, we are going to go into the details of what are the kind of crypto scams and frauds that we usually come across. And then we are going to see what are the kind of methods and techniques that we use to actually investigate those. Now, depending upon the country that you are living in, there may be different kinds of such frauds and scams that are popularly happening. Now, broadly, when we talk about the first kind of scam that we usually hear about is called a pig butchering scam, in which they will create a long term relationship with the victim, and then they will manipulate him into, say, investing into a fake investment platform. So somebody may contact you and then they may start a conversation with you. Slowly, they develop some kind of a trust where you feel that these people are good at advising me about what to do with my money. And then one day they will ask you to invest into this platform, which you don't realize is fake because it looks very, very legitimate. The websites are nice, everything is perfect looking. And then one day, once you put all your money, they're going to vanish with it. So that's what we usually call as a pig butchering scam. Then there is a Ponzi or pyramid scheme. Now, in that, what happens is you are going to be promised a large amount of money in returns. But what's really happening is that they are taking money from one victim to pay to somebody else who has already put in the past. So let's say they started off with three people who gave them a little bit of money and they promised these people a lot of returns. Now, three new people come and give them money. They will take some of that and pay back the initial people with the profits. So, those initial people start to feel this is a legitimate investment avenue. They will then tell their friends and all about it, and that's how the whole system grows. And then one fine day, these people are going to vanish with the money. So, in India, there was this very famous case of Amar Bhardwaj, where he was doing something very similar with Bitcoin. Now, this was at a stage when Bitcoin was quite low in terms of pricing. But then because the Bitcoin started shooting up in value, he was not able to pay back to his earlier investors. Then he ran away from India. He was caught from Bangkok, if I'm not mistaken, brought back to Pune. He was put into jail here. Subsequently, he died in jail because he was already suffering from a lot of health issues. But this is one of the largest such kind of scams that has taken place in the world. Then we have fake exchange or wallet apps. Now, here, in fact, I have a question for you. How do you decide whether a particular app or a particular website that you're thinking about investing in is real or fake? What are you doing about it? I want to hear some of your answers on that. Like, how do you make out this is genuine? Anyone? HTTPS
With the
connection.
official organization.
Okay, so I'll take both. So one person says HTTPS. See, that's very easy for anyone to do. Every website in the world today has HTTPS. It's free. So that really doesn't give us much. You said about official. Now my next question, how do you know it is official? Like many of these fake websites, on their website, they will even put registration numbers. We are registered with, say, the New York Financial Authority or any country in the world. How do you know that that is also real? Do you actually go and then take that number, then find the official website of the regulator, then enter it there? Okay, somebody says only if I recommend it. Sure, that's a nice way to look at it. It should not be too good to be true or whatever is promised. That's definitely a very strong thing. You have to think logically. If someone is promising to make your money 10 times, why don't they just make their own money 10 times? Why do they need your money for that? Whatever little money they have, they will make it 10 times, then again 10 times. That's good enough for them. So if the promise is too good to be true, then it is likely going to be fake. But what else? Suppose the promise is okay and the website looks beautiful. What next? How do we still make sure that this is worth it? Now, if you Google reviews, a lot of people they can put fake reviews there. So I'll be very honest with you, it is very difficult to come to know whether something is real or fake. If it is in a country which is recognizing, legally allowing such kind of activities, they have registered with the entities there, even then there may be problem. Take an example of the FTX exchange. I'm sure you guys must have heard about this FTX exchange. Now that was a very, very popular exchange for several years. Around the world, people were using that to do their trading, and it was genuinely a very good exchange. But unfortunately, what people did not realize is that at the back end, they were gambling with the clients' monies. And they lost a lot of that money because they made bad decisions in what to invest in, because of which the exchange went bankrupt. Now, logically, is this a scam or a fraud or is it not? Because they were not planning to do any scam, but they, without telling the customers, invested the customers' money into cryptos and lost. They were an exchange. They were only supposed to hold your money or allow you to swap between cryptos and give you your money back when you want it. But because they started gambling with the customers' money, that is when it became a scam. And then, of course, there was a very famous trial that took place, and subsequently all the founders, most of them were put into prison. Then there was another very interesting case. In fact, there's a Netflix documentary on this. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there was a Canadian exchange, and the owner of that exchange came to India, to I think Jaipur, for a vacation. There he supposedly passed away because of some health issue. And his wife says that, look, I don't have any of the crypto that you guys had put into the exchange because he controlled the wallet individually, and now he's dead and I don't know where the passwords are. Netflix even made a documentary on this, and there's a doubt whether he's actually still alive, but nobody knows for sure. Now, if he actually died because of this, then it is obviously not a scam or a fraud. It was a legitimate thing, but they did not have proper operational control and security measures where if something happens to one person, somebody else is there who can actually give people back their crypto, because crypto is ultimately controlled by seed phrases and private keys. So you're supposed to have multiple people who are controlling or having that particular key with them. We also call this as the multi-signature wallets. So we have to be very particular that whether what has happened is a fraud and scam or is it a legitimate security breach that has happened. For example, in India, there is this very popular exchange called WazirX. Now, some time ago, they announced that there was a massive hack on them and a lot of crypto was stolen. Now, while initially everybody may think, okay, it's a scam, we need to first get some basic evidence that was it a legitimate hack or did the founders actually run away with the money? If it was a legitimate hack, it doesn't come under the category of crypto frauds and scams. Is that part clear? Somebody's mentioned check the local authority websites and verify the organizations, check who the leadership is and their track records and backgrounds. No success. Absolutely. So when it is a legitimate platform, the people behind it will give their details. Maybe their LinkedIn profiles, maybe they come out and do some video live sessions once in a while. You can come to know that they're real people. So that can help you. But again, here, what about Bitcoin itself? We don't know who started it. That person has never come forward to say, I am Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever his real name was. But that doesn't mean Bitcoin has become a scam. So in the world of crypto, there are legitimately anonymous projects. For various reasons, the owners don't want to come forward because that's the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain. So just because the owner is not showing his face doesn't automatically mean it is a fraud. We have got to see what is it that they are actually doing and then figure out whether this is a fraud or not. Another kind of thing is where you impersonate somebody. So somebody could say, I am working for the RBI or I am working for the US government. And then they may try to fool you into making some kind of investments. Like, in fact, many times people get phone calls saying that your tax is not paid. This happens a lot in the US. From call centers in India, people call up these people and say, we are calling from the IRS, which is the US tax agency. And they say there is going to be so much fine on you. You're going to go to prison. So they scare them into paying them money. In fact, in India, there's a very popular scam which is nowadays going on, which is called the digital arrest. So one day, some people who pretend to be police officers sitting in a police station, proper video call they will do with you, and they will say you are under digital arrest and you're not allowed to move, you're not allowed to do this. And then they will ask you to pay a lot of money, and many people are paying this money. Now, the surprising part is the people who are paying this money are not criminals. They have never committed any crime in their life, but they get scared, especially older people. So a lot of people who are above 65, 70 onward, they're not that comfortable with technology and they get scared very fast. Even younger people are scared into this, saying that, there is this parcel which has come in your name from abroad and there are drugs in it and you are going to be arrested for that. They scare you. They force you to sit, say, inside your house for sometimes days on end till you pay them a lot of money. Police or income tax officers never call if anyone is getting arrested. Yes, you are absolutely correct on that. So we have to think very logically. When have you ever heard of legally any law being there which allows you to be digitally arrested? No, there is no such law in India. I don't know about other countries, but there is definitely no such law which has this concept of a digital arrest. Somebody has to physically catch you and arrest you. So whenever some kind of things happen, like somebody calls you up on the phone and scares you into giving an OTP, please cut the call, because you may get hyper and you may just give it away. The moment you hear something like this, cut the call, relax, drink some water. Once you feel you're relaxed, then if you want, you can pick up the next call and figure out whether it is real or fake. But it is very easy to fool people nowadays, especially online. Because if the person in front of you is wearing a proper police uniform, in the background, there's a proper police station. Please remember, there are movies in which we see this all the time. So many movies show us realistic looking police officers and police stations, but we know it is a set. Well, the same kind of sets are used in such kind of scams. Then we have a concept called as a rug pull. In this, a project is launched, a lot of people invest money, and one day the project owners just disappear. So the website is shut down, the Telegram groups are shut down, and they just vanish with the money. So that is why we call it a rug pull. And one of the biggest of this, I think, was called OneCoin. There was this lady, I'm forgetting her name offhand, from somewhere in Europe, and she launched this coin many, many years ago called OneCoin, and she made over $1 billion before she vanished. Some of her partners were arrested and they are in jail. She has never been caught, and she is in fact in the FBI top 10 most wanted people in the world, but they've not been able to track her for many years. So some people say she has died, some people say she has done plastic surgery and she's hiding in some country. Well, we don't know what happened to her, but those are called as the rug pulls. Then we have a concept called the romance scams. Now, here the target is usually going to be slightly middle-aged or older men. Women don't usually fall for such kind of things. It is usually men who fall for such kind of scams. So this woman will contact you from, say, Russia, Ukraine, some other country, and she may even do video calls with you, and she will become your friend, and then slowly, slowly she will have feelings for you, and then you feel that you are having some kind of a relationship with her, and then she is going to ask you for money. Now, either she is going to ask you for money to come to your country to meet you, or she is going to ask you to invest money into some other platform. But one way or the other, after that romance has started, some kind of money is going to be taken from you, and then obviously the person is going to disappear. Yes, it is also called as a honey trap. You're quite right. These have been happening from even before crypto came in, but crypto has made it easier now for them to get the money. Then there are high yield investment programs which promise to make your money 10x and 20x. Please remember, if it was that easy to make your money 10x, then everybody would be doing it, right? It is not that easy to double and triple your money. It is absolutely not that easy. Money takes time to grow, takes a lot of effort to grow. So if somebody says, I will make 10x your money in few months, well, they are obviously pulling some kind of a scam, or they're doing something illegal, like maybe selling drugs or some other kind of illegal thing with your money. So be very careful when people propose a high yield investment program to you. Then there is a very sad scam which is called a recovery scam. Somebody who has already lost money is again approached by someone else saying, I will now help you get your money back. Can you imagine how bad that is? Somebody has already lost a lot of money. They're already feeling bad. They're already very depressed. Then they go around looking for people to help them. Like, I get such kind of emails very, very often that, okay, I have lost money in a scam. Can you get it back for me? Now, let me be very honest to you. In 99% cases, there is almost nothing that can be done. So if anybody guarantees to you that I will get your money back, please do not give them any money upfront. Tell them, okay, if you get my money back, you can keep 10-20% of it and give me the rest. Don't give them more money to get your own money back. I'll tell you why this becomes difficult. Because when it is planned well, then in such kind of scams, before you even realize that you have been conned, they have already moved that money into a crypto exchange somewhere in the world and encashed the money. So they may have taken cash out and they have vanished. It is next to impossible to catch them. And many times the people doing this are in countries where other countries don't even have such kind of extradition treaties. So how are we even going to bring those people back? So if you are the victim of a crypto scam, please do not pay upfront money to somebody who guarantees that I will get your money back. No. Tell them, get my money back and you keep your 10-20% in that. Is it clear? Any questions? So like I said, these are the different kinds of scams that we see. So there's pig butchering, there's Ponzi or pyramid schemes, there's fake exchanges, there's impersonation of a regulator or a popular known figure. Like some time ago, there were these videos of Narayan Murthy promising that if you put money into this kind of crypto project, your money will grow. Those are all fakes. There are rug pulls, romance scams, high yield investment scams, and recovery scams. So these are the kind of things that we see. Now, another question is, why do we need to care what category the scam falls into? The reason we need to care about that is, depending upon the category, the on-chain pattern that we are looking at is going to change. The operator's infrastructure is going to be different, and the applicable laws are going to be different. That is why step one is to identify whether it is a fraud and whether, what category it falls into, and then we are going to figure out what to do with it. Then, yes, quite right. Someone says deepfake have changed the game. Absolutely. So, have you guys seen deepfake videos? Give me a yes or no. If you know what a deepfake video is.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Most of you have seen it. Great. Now, in a deepfake video, somebody takes your photo or a bunch of photos gives it to an AI, and the AI will now generate realistically looking videos, which are fakes, but they're called deep fakes because they are that accurate and they're generated by AI. And by looking at it, it is almost impossible to come to know it is fake. In fact, that's how they make videos for Narayan Murthy also. Or they make it even of people who have passed away, like Ratan Tata. People make fake videos of him talking about crypto investment opportunities. Now, the scary part is, how are you going to come to know it is real or fake? So one day, let's say you get a video call from, say, someone known to you, a friend, but not a very close friend, but someone known to you. And they're constantly calling you on video call and the call is getting cut. Then they send you a small video message saying that they are stuck in some country and they desperately need a little bit of money. Chances are you may fall and you may send them that $100 or $200, whatever little bit they're doing. So how are you going to make out when you look at this video, is it real or fake? Any ideas? Of course, there are some techniques where you could download the video. There are websites you can upload it and it can tell you whether this was generated by an AI. Other than that, what are you going to do? Anyone has any ideas? No? Well, yeah, it is very, very difficult. Yeah, and actually, here, the only kind of options that we have, right? So one, yeah, someone says texture of skin and all, but even that is tough. Like one way in which you can make out is, if it is a live call, then of course there are many ways in which you can make out whether it is real or fake. Just ask that person to move their head very fast, or ask them to say a particular word instantly. Sometimes the AI may trip up, but this is real time. In fact, there's a very interesting Netflix program called The Capture. In fact, I'm going to write down the name here, and I want all of you to have a look at this serial. So in this, they are basically talking about, in the UK, I think it has the highest number of CCTV cameras. And the intelligence agencies have figured out a way of real-time image manipulation in those CCTV cameras. Now, let me assure you, such kind of technologies exist. It is not fiction. It is not science fiction. It is real. Where you think you're looking at the live feed of a CCTV camera, but actually it's a fake feed. So somebody else is at the scene, but your face is showing up in that. You must see this serial. Yeah, it's on Jio Hotstar. You must have a look at it. It is absolutely mind-blowing and scary, but that technology exists today. So it is very difficult for us to identify truly whether this video or this live call or live stream is real or fake. In fact, I have a question for you. How do you know that right now I am actually live talking here? This could be a recorded session. It could be generated by AI. How are you going to make sure that this is a real session? I want to see what kind of investigative answers you can come up. How are you determining that right now it is me talking live? Your response to chats. But what if there is somebody else in my organization who is sitting and answering the chats? What if
No,
somebody
your
in my
response
organization is
to
putting the questions and I'm answering pre-recorded? Yeah.
you're answering when we question you now, live.
So now here, what could happen is I could tell someone from my organization to put the question, and then I've already answered and recorded in the past. But if you are putting a question right now and I'm able to answer it, even then there is a small chance that it could be fake, but that is much higher quality. So that for such kind of a session, it doesn't make sense for me to put that kind of a money. But yeah, if it's a crime, it is possible for that person to real time manipulate. And in fact, that is why I want you to watch The Capture. That in real time also videos can be manipulated. So it's a very, very scary thing that is coming. The Red Line movie shows how digital arrest scams is organized. Red Line, okay, interesting. It's a Hindi movie. Where is it available?
Actually, it's on Netflix. I think it's an Indonesian movie. So three women get scammed, and they
Okay.
go about it decoding. Of course, it's only possible in movies, but we really understand how nicely it's like a call center. They run it so nice. Various departments to scam at various layers.
Oh, very, very interesting. So maybe you guys, everyone should have a look at this movie also.
Very
It's
interesting.
becoming very difficult. Yeah. Tell me.
It is a very interesting movie. We can understand the way things are so organized. It's like an organization, proper organization. And the technology, how well versed they are in the technology.
Absolutely. In fact, there are these small countries, I don't want to name them, but some of them are very close to India also, where firstly human trafficking happens, which means people are kidnapped, taken to those countries, and forced to work in these scam centers, where hundreds of such people are there. They are barely paid money, though they are not paid, they're barely given enough food to eat. And their job, yeah, I don't want to name those countries, but yes, some of you are putting countries here. I'm not confirming or denying that. But in these countries, they are these scam centers where human trafficking victims are forced to scam people from around the world. So imagine thousands of people are sitting there, and every day they are trying to talk to 10, 20 different people per head. And that many people are potential scam victims, and they are trying to digitally arrest you, they are trying to con you, romance scams, all sorts of scams are happening. In fact, I remember many, many years ago, one of my friends had gone to a country, I don't want to name them. And then our local partner there told him, let me show you what youngsters are today doing instead of going to college. And he took him to a cyber cafe. And my friend had never seen such a big cyber cafe in his life. There were hundreds of people sitting there, all college going students sitting there and doing romance scams and other scams globally. So it may be a man sitting here, but photograph of a very good looking pretty woman, and he's using that to con people from around the world. There are hundreds of people today or thousands who have made it their full-time careers to do such kind of scams. So that is the reason these scams are becoming more and more popular. Now I have a question for you. Why crypto? I mean, these scams can happen through normal bank transfers. So why is it that people are doing it through crypto? Any idea? Well, why do you think crypto is where more of these scams happen? Or why more scammers are using crypto? Yes, firstly, crypto bypasses the normal banking channel. When you try to send money abroad, your bank may ask you, why are you doing it? There may be government regulations in place. But when it's crypto, you can just click a couple of buttons and the money is gone. So it becomes much easier for the criminals, and in fact, much easier for the victims also to give the money. Someone says they have abducted Indians and later found that they were repatriated to India again through government. Yes, yes, absolutely. All these kinds of scams are happening. Now, in crypto, what we have got to understand very clearly is, why is crypto becoming popular? Slightly different question. I don't mean by criminals. For criminals, why crypto is popular, we understand. My question to you is, why is crypto popular amongst non-criminals? Fast, efficient, yes. Anonymity is high, yes. So for anonymity, sure. So even though a person may not be criminal, someone says fear of missing out, sure. FOMO may also be one of the reasons. Now, I have a point for you here, which I want you to understand. Even though a person is not doing illegal work, firstly, he may be hiding tax. Now, please remember that in itself is a crime. But many people think that that's not so bad. I'm doing legitimate business, but I'm not paying GST or I'm not paying income tax. So that money has become black money. I will then keep that money into crypto. So what people do is, there are these agents available in almost every city in India as well as in most countries of the world. You call them, they will come to your house. They can bring you crores of rupees in cash and buy your USDT, or they can take crores of rupees from you and instantly give you USDT. Now, USDT, which is Tether, happens to be the most misused stablecoin or cryptocurrency in the world. And primarily, it is USDT on the Tron network, which is used for this. There are multiple reasons. I don't want to go into that today, but that happens to be the most popular. And because the liquidity level is so high that you can buy and sell worth crores, a lot of people are today keeping their black money in it. And that is why it makes those people potential victims also. Like there have been cases, there's this particular coffee shop I go to near my house. At that place, some months ago, a person was kidnapped in the afternoon and taken away. Why? Because he had a lot of crypto and he used to boast about it on Twitter. And he would show people his wallets and how much money he's making from crypto. Someone kidnapped him, stole all his crypto, and then they threw him out of the car. So that's how common crypto related scams are becoming. And let me tell you, it is going to increase. And I'll tell you why it is going to increase. Because now stable coins are getting legal recognition. So the US government has made laws, Europe has come out with the MiCA. Because of these new laws which are coming in, stable coins are becoming more and more legalized. So just like today you're using bank transfers, very soon you will be able to use stable coins for all sorts of legitimate payments, which means almost everybody who's today using the banking channels is going to start using stable coins and cryptocurrencies, thereby increasing the number of potential victims that we can see. Any questions so far? And in fact, have you guys heard about the concept of a CBDC or a central bank digital currency? So when we look at a CBDC, in fact, India is one of the first countries in the world where the Reserve Bank of India has its own blockchain network on which the e-rupee has been launched. That is a cryptocurrency. Of course, it is issued by the government or the central bank, so we can say no, it is money. But the point is, at the end of the day, from a technology point of view, if it runs on a blockchain, we call it a cryptocurrency. So that means even governments around the world, like China, India, and so many others, have started to issue government-backed cryptocurrency, so to say. So soon, everybody is going to start using this without even realizing. What you use today is UPI, where the money moves from your bank's database into the receiving bank's database. When you transfer money in CBDC, that entire transaction happens on the blockchain, controlled and run by the Reserve Bank. But whether you like it or not, you are going to be part of the cryptocurrency ecosystem over the next few years. So it is very important for you to understand how to protect yourself from such scams. Now, let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Just give me a quick yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is a checklist that, step-by-step guides about how to do these investigations. If you have access to the C4 tools, you can just log in and see it while I'm talking. Otherwise, you can look at the screen. So like I said, the first step in that when we are investigating is to figure out what kind of a scam it is. So that is the first step. Now, once we've done that, we can just check this off. Okay, work done. Now we have to construct a fraud timeline. So we need to see what is the date of the initial communication. How did the conversation start? Now, these kind of conversations could start on social media. They could start on Telegram, WhatsApp. I mean, almost any kind of communication medium, which is very popular today. Then what was the date when the investment platform was introduced into this? So we try to see how much time later did that happen? Because in some scams, it's a long term, in some, it's a quick one. So we need those dates first. Then each and every deposit that was made by the victim. Then any fake profits that were shown on the dashboard. So what happens is they will give you this nice looking login, which will show you that you have 10 Bitcoin as a balance, you have 20 Ethereum as a balance. They can show anything. My question is, how are you going to come to know this is real or fake? That is why in the world of crypto, there is a statement which is not your keys, not your coins. Have you heard about that? It's a very popular saying that we have. Now, what it means is if you do not have the private key to a particular wallet, it is not your crypto. It is somebody else's. So in fact, when you put your money into a regular crypto exchange, a centralized exchange, even like Binance, the money is not yours. It is lying with the exchange. It is in a wallet controlled by their private key. So it's not yours. They may give you access to it or they may give it to you in future, but it is not under your control at all. Very similar to when your money is in the bank, it is with the bank. If the bank shuts down or something happens to the bank, your money is kind of stuck and then you wait for the government insurance to maybe pay you out a little bit.
कस्टमर केयर का नंबर दो यार, तुम है ना सुनने के
Can you please switch off your yeah. So what we have got to understand here is that money is ours, for example, when we hold the cash in our hand. Similarly, in crypto, it is yours only if it's in a wallet controlled by your private key. Is that part clear? So they can keep showing you fake things on the screen. Please don't fall for that. It's only when you can withdraw that into your own wallet that you can say it is your money. And then when you go for withdrawal, when did they ask for more money? So usually they start with the system called an exit fee. So they have shown you that your money has increased, but they say now to get it back, you have to pay more money. That's what we call as an exit fee demand. And once you pay that, they will ask for more money. They will keep giving you new reasons. And as long as you keep paying, they will keep talking to you. The moment you stop paying, they will disappear. And then finally, we need to know what is the final communication cutoff. When did they disappear and stop talking to you? So this timeline is the first thing that we need to create. Any questions? All clear? Okay.
Yes.
Then we have the organized crime network assess. So now we need to see, that is this an individual who is doing it? Is it an organized crime syndicate? Has this guy or this organization done it multiple times in the past? So I was talking to you about those scam centers. They are also called scam compounds. So these are usually in some small Southeast Asian countries where lots and lots of people are sitting and doing it. So when the same identical scam infrastructure is used, the same kind of chains, the same kind of contracts, the same kind of wallets, then we can figure out, okay, multiple people are falling victim to the same place. So that's a very important thing that we need to assess. Then, if there is a professional platform which is being shown in multiple crimes, but the branding is similar, the look and the design and all is similar. Of course, nowadays with AI, it is very easy to create such kind of fake websites. But even then, criminals also get stuck to one kind of design. So if you notice that in multiple cases, the website looks similar. Colors may be different, but the design is similar. Then in your head, this may be part of the same organized crime syndicate which is doing it. Multiple victims are reporting the same wallet address. Again, that may be something to do with it, that is part of one group which is doing it. So these are things that we need to keep in mind. Then we need to do a prior check that, okay, these addresses that have come to us, right, that we are now investigating, have they already been investigated in the past? Are they already there in some kind of database maintained by law enforcement or private agencies? And it's not just about crypto wallets. It could be the platform, it could be the wallet address, could be phone numbers, could be domain names. We need to look at the consumer fraud databases, the financial regulator warning list, law enforcements have bulletins. So we need to figure out, okay, is this coming into any of them? So again, in C4 tools, you have the BAD, which is the blockchain address directory. So in that, you can enter an address and it will immediately tell you, in the past, has this been known to have been involved in a ransomware? Is it related to any known criminal entity? So that becomes a very important check that we need to do. Then we need to look at things like get all the deposit addresses from the victims. So now these can come in multiple places. Addresses could have come by email, telegram, QR code, so many different places. So we need to get all of them, because then we are going to investigate all of them. Then again, you could use a tool where, like C4, where you enter multiple addresses and then it scans them on different blockchains. Because another thing you have to remember is, by looking at an address, you don't always come to know which blockchain it belongs to. For example, if it is an EVM address, it will work across all EVM chains. It will work across Ethereum, it will work on Polygon, it will work on hundreds more chains. So we can't just test it on one chain. That same address needs to be checked on hundreds of chains, because we don't know what chain the criminal has been using. But usually here the victim will be able to give you a guidance about which chain was actually being used, because the victim may have paid the money on that chain. Are you guys familiar with this concept when I say different chains being used? Like, for example, if it is USDT, are you aware that USDT can actually be on different blockchains? Are you aware of that concept? Yeah, so let me just give you a brief idea about what it means. Like when you say Indian rupee, it can be in many banks, right? Cash aside, the same Indian rupee equal to 1 rupee value can be in Axis Bank, can be in ICICI, can be in State Bank. Similarly, USDT, which is a stable coin, can be on multiple chains. So USDT can be on Ethereum, can be on Polygon. Now, one important point here is you can very easily use something like UPI to transfer rupee from Axis to ICICI. But it's not that easy to do it in the crypto world. It involves a little more effort and technical know-how to transfer USDT from Ethereum to Polygon, right? So that is another thing that we need to keep in mind, that the same USDT can be on multiple chains. Now, another complication comes. People can create fake stable coins called USDT. And in fact, if you check up online, you will find hundreds of USDTs on every chain. So you have to know which is the real USDT. Each of them have their own contract address. So that is why there's a lot of initial knowledge that you need before you actually start doing cryptocurrency related transactions. You must have invested heavily to have access to those blockchains, or was it something easy to access to? No, to access different chains is not costly at all. I mean, you can start with just $1 and you can transfer one USDT around to different chains. But then, of course, the transaction fee starts coming into the picture. Please remember, every blockchain transaction involves a fee. So if it's on Polygon, you have to pay it in Pol, which is the native token of the Polygon blockchain. If you do it on Ethereum, you have to pay in ETH. So that is something that you have to keep in your mind. That is why when you're sending USDT, you also need some Polygon in your address to send that USDT. So one technique to safeguard your crypto is, do not keep any native currency in that same wallet. So if somebody hacks it, they have to first put some coin into it and then only transfer your USDT out. So it kind of makes it a little more difficult for them. Does the transaction fee go to the miner? So that's a very good question. And yes, so blockchains are of two types primarily. One is the proof of work and one is proof of stake. Of course, there are many other variations. So in proof of work, it is a miner who is spending a lot of money in hardware and software and electricity costs to validate transactions. So transaction fee goes to them. In proof of stake, people have locked a lot of their crypto to be able to validate transactions, and the transaction fee goes to them. So that's the revenue model. Just like a bank takes bank charges, in the crypto world, these people take the transaction fee. Once we've done all that, then complete transaction record has to be compiled. Is there an overview somewhere of these fees are prior to? Yeah. So These fees are called gas fees. And whenever you're going to make a transaction on a wallet, before your transaction goes through, it shows you how much gas you're going to pay, and only then you go through. So that's the figure which is known. And the transaction fee keeps changing. So if it's a time of the day or a time when lots of transactions happening, fees goes up. Lesser transaction happening, fees goes down. So when networks are congested, sort of like how Uber and these other taxi services work, at congestion time they take more money. Similarly, even in crypto, during congestion, more money is taken as transaction fee. Now that we've reached here, now we need to make the complete transaction record. So in this, you are going to see, okay, what are the on-chain transaction hashes? So just like every time you do a bank transaction, a transaction ID is generated. On the blockchain, every time a transaction happens, a transaction hash is generated. Then we need to note down the time. Now, this is here, a lot of people make mistakes. Timing, we need to know which time zone. If you notice in all my messages, whenever I organize a class, I always mention India time because there is no global time. Every country has a different time. Like right now in India, if it is 12 o'clock, there is somewhere in the world where it is 1 o'clock. So similarly in crypto, be very, very particular to note down that this timing and date is based on what time zone. The most common is UTC. Then what is the amount in cryptocurrency and what is the equivalent in fiat? What we mean by this is 1 ETH, but what is the value of that 1 ETH at the time of the fraud? It is not relevant what it is at the time when the case goes to court. It is relevant what was the value of that at the time of the scam. So that is why we note down the cryptocurrency amount and the amount in dollars or rupees. Now, another thing to remember, suppose a particular cryptocurrency's price is $1 and the India rupee rate for dollar is say 80. That doesn't mean that crypto will be 80 rupees in India. The prices can be very different because crypto is not a perfectly priced market. So in fact, in Korea, the prices are always higher. And in fact, that is called as the kimchi premium. That Bitcoin is always more expensive in Korea for various reasons, South Korea. Similarly, different cryptos may have different prices in different currencies depending upon the liquidity. So you need to note down the fiat value in your currency wherever you are investigating the case. So if you're doing it in India, you will write the rupee value. If you're doing it in the US, you would write the dollar value. And then what on-ramp was used? Now, what do we mean by on-ramp and off-ramp? Have you heard about this concept? Some explorers give an option to convert to local time. Sure. In that case, again, you need to note it down based on that. What is this on-ramping and off-ramping concept? Has anyone ever heard of this before? Okay. So what we are talking about here is how has the money moved onto the chain or how has it moved off the chain, right? So what do we mean by this? You have cash with you right now and you want to get into crypto. What are the ways? So you could call somebody up who would come to your house, take your cash and give you a crypto. So that person is on-ramped you. You could use an ATM. So there are Bitcoin and crypto ATMs around the world. You could go there, you could put in your cash and it could transfer Bitcoin into your wallet on your phone. You could use a peer-to-peer platform. So instead of somebody coming to your house, you go to a common place and two people meet and they exchange the money. So we have on-ramp. Similarly, we can off-ramp. So you can take money from your bank account, giving it to a regulated exchange. They give you crypto in your exchange account, on-ramp. And then there is off-ramp, where you convert from your crypto back into some kind of fiat currency. So that also needs to be very clearly noted that the victim says they have paid so much crypto. Well, the next question you have to ask the victim is, where did you get the crypto from? That becomes a very important part. And this is one of the reasons that a lot of people do not report crypto frauds. Can you tell me why? Any idea? Why people don't report frauds? In fact, I would say more than 90% of the time, people don't even report the fraud. Yeah, because they got the crypto through illegal means. So how are they going to say it? Because obviously, the first question you are going to ask them is, great, you have now been the victim of a scam. I'm going to help you. But where did you get the crypto to begin with? And if the crypto they got was from illegal means, they're not going to come and file a complaint. So 90% of crypto scams and frauds go unreported. So like this, we continue. And then, of course, we need to preserve all the communications that have happened. So on the different social media, chatting platforms, video, voice recording, everything that has happened, we need to obviously save it and record it. So like this, the story continues. Then we need to note down their on-ramping, off-ramping details. And then there's a whole bunch. I mean, I can't go through the entire thing today, but I wanted to introduce you to what all we do. Then we do more of the scam platform analysis. If you have access to the C4, you can just open it and see it. But under each of these, there are detailed points about what is to be done. Then we do the on-chain fund tracing, that if the money is still in crypto, then there is some chance we can get it back. So do you know that even Tether as a stable coin can freeze their token? That means if somebody has stolen your Tether and they have taken it somewhere else, Tether can click a button in their systems and they can freeze that crypto so that the criminal cannot disappear with it. So that is a positive thing. As long as the money is on chain, there are ways to get it. When it goes off chain, things become more and more difficult. Sort of like you may have heard about this concept of money mules. Someone steals money from your bank account, transfers it to multiple people's accounts, who then go to an ATM machine and withdraw the money. If they have withdrawn it, it becomes that much more difficult to get it back. If it is still in the banking system, the banks can freeze it. That is why in frauds, we have to react very fast. The faster we react, the more the chances that we can get something back. Then there's a layering and obfuscation which happens, that, people will put that money through mixers. And these are techniques in which it sort of becomes very difficult to identify whether this is your money or someone else's. So imagine 10 people put their money into some wallet, and suddenly 20 new addresses are getting that money out. Now it becomes next to impossible to figure out what has really happened and which money is gone into which wallet. So that kind of defeats the whole process of blockchain investigations. So that's another layer of complication that comes in. But of course, there are ways we can do something about. Coming back to my previous question, an upfront overview site on gas fees. I understand it is not available. No, it is available. I mean, most good wallets will always show this to you. But other than that, in fact, I always recommend don't even use third-party wallets. Build your own wallet. So if any of you guys want to learn how to build that, I take sessions on Python and I teach people how to build their own wallet, which is actually more secure than using any other wallet in the world, because your wallet is running only on your system and it is almost impossible for someone to hack into it. You could just keep it air-gapped and not put the internet on, except when you're broadcasting. Now, when it comes to cost, you asked a question which is more costly. So one of the cheapest platforms today is Polygon. That's why it is very, very popular. It's very fast and the transaction fee is very nominal. I mean, it's not even a few cents. And in terms of expense, I would say Bitcoin is an expensive platform. Ethereum is also an expensive one. Polygon is the cheapest, which is why it is very popular. Tron is actually not very cheap, but it's popular in the criminal world. I'm not sure exactly why. Why have criminals prefer USDT on Tron? Because it is expensive, but for whatever reason, it's very popular. So then we also do exchange off-ramp tracing. So on-ramp was how did you get on? Off-ramp is how did you get off? Then we need to do criminal network mapping. Then we need to coordinate with a lot of law enforcement agencies globally. And finally, we prepare an evidence package. So evidence package is all the different information about that case. You are going to now properly create a file for it, because then it may be going to court for the next step. So, all the evidence needs to be compiled. The chain of custody log needs to be done. Expert witnesses need to be prepared, because crypto is complex. Many times the judges may not have good knowledge of it. So that is why you need to bring a third-party independent expert who can give the technical explanation to the court about various aspects about what has happened. Questions? I mean, this is broadly what I wanted to speak to you guys about. Now, if you have questions, definitely ask me. And I've also prepared a quiz. So on the group, I'll post the link to that quiz. Without logging in, you can just take the quiz to test your initial knowledge of the subject. Don't worry if you do badly in that subject, you're just getting introduced to the concept. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to either unmute and ask, or you could put it in the chat.
Pros, we'll get a recording of this.
Yes, definitely you will get a recording.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Yeah. Does anyone have any kind of questions? Don't worry, you're all part of the cryptocurrency investigators WhatsApp group also. So even later, if you have questions, you can always put them there on the platform. And now it's very important for you to firstly always remember that if you want to get into the world of crypto investigation, you have to be ready to learn technologies. So sometimes you may feel, I'm a lawyer, why should I be learning Python? Well, technically qualified in terms of education, even I'm a lawyer, but that doesn't matter. You have to know this, right? So it's very important for you to learn technology. Yeah.
I have one question that I'm a practicing lawyer. I'm basically dealing the trial advocacy.
Mhm.
I would like to be establish my practice in this IT law, most preferably cryptocurrency and cyber fraud and all these things. So is it necessary to learn the technical knowledge in information technology, computers, Python and language and all these things?
No.
Okay, I want to learn the only the part of the evidence which you put before the court and trial. Then I want to go for the defense side
Sure.
because
So,
the prosecution agency is there and investigation they will never want to anyone to be intervenes that investigations part. So I would prefer to be become a defense lawyer for this. Is
sure.
there any course for
So
me?
in that case, you don't need to go too much into, say, Python or the technical depth. That's for investigators. If you want to remain as a lawyer in that field, then you could do a diploma in cyber law from Asian School of Cyber Laws. So that will
I
teach.
did that course.
Pardon?
I did that. I did that
Oh,
course.
you
The
already did
diploma
that.
in cyber.
Awesome. So then
Uh,
now I think it is just a matter of you actually starting to take up such cases. And whenever you get stuck in a
no,
case, you can always
this
contact us.
no, this course you introduced new the investigator course. Is this
Yeah.
worthy for me? So I can.
So if you
Uh-huh.
only want to practice in the court, then no, this will not be for you because this course will require technical knowledge. I mean, it has to be built. But if you are sure that you don't want to get into the investigation part and you only want to do the defense part, then what you would do is, in your cases, when the technical issues come up, you bring an expert witness. And in
Yeah,
your
expert.
case, then if you feel that tech is not your strong point, then don't get into it. Then you get somebody who's done, I mean, who's qualified and who technically can then come as an expert. Then you focus only on the legal part.
Actually, I understand that if I know the prosecution side investigation aspect, so I can do the better defense strategy.
Yes, you can.
So I don't have any technical knowledge, but I can get the knowledge from the your diploma which you offer, the
You can.
investigation.
But please be open to learning a lot of tech. So I don't want you to join the course and then feel this is too much tech for me.
So I want to be get trained under the experts, some like your course is that. So
Yes,
I
you
can
can.
understand which kind of the investigation. Actually, I am zero on this cryptocurrency investigation, all this terminology and everything. If I did this course, then I can argue the matter before the court,
Yes,
or even I can the challenge the investigation prosecution agency which they
yes, you
produce
can.
the evidence. So it is the better to understand the what a investigation, how they crack this crime.
Absolutely.
After
It
that
is.
we can cross the and prepare our defense strategy if there
Yes.
is a flow of any procedural illegality or all these things in the cyber law and electronic evidence. There is a prescribed procedure. I have to just create a doubt of the evidence, authenticity and all these things, the chain of so
Absolutely.
it is good for me to do all
Yes.
this course.
It is. It is. See, we have to
Okay,
understand, as the world is getting more complex, when you want to, even as a lawyer, if you are representing, there is going to come a stage where that lack of technical knowledge is going to impact your performance and your competence in court. And everything as we look around us is getting more and more digital. So, I mean, let's look at it this way, right? So, I remember about 20 odd years ago, I used to ask people, suppose you were to give access you were to give access to your biggest enemy, would you give your enemy access to your phone or to your house? I want you guys to answer this question. Can you answer this? No. You have to either give your house. So that means for 10 minutes, they can go into your house and see anything, or 10 minutes, they can see anything on your phone. So, okay. Now, initially, when I used to ask this, before smartphones came in, right? People would say that, no, I can give you access to my phone, but not to my house. Today, that answer is totally different. Now, you have to ask yourself, what is so secretive in your phone that you don't want to give it to people? Today, your phone and your digital life has become more important to you than your physical life, right? I'm
all
not
right.
getting into what you're doing into that, but that's how the world has changed. And that is why we're beginning to see digital everywhere.
Yeah, we live in a digital world, so
Yeah, exactly. So if you are living in a digital world, do you see that reducing or increasing?
increasing.
So digital is going to become more and more important. And that is why digital crime is going to grow. And that is why the need for digital crime investigators is forever going to grow. someone says my house is empty. Okay. So then in that case, but your phone is never empty. Your phone has a lot of secrets that you don't want the world to know. Any other questions? Oh, somebody here says I can give both. Awesome. Medlin, you're one of the very few people in the world who can do that. Any other questions? Okay, great. It was nice
So
talking to
any
you.
guidance for the wallet of the cryptocurrencies for the extraction data regarding that?
Sure, I'm going to be doing another next week's masterclass is going to be around the basics of crypto investigation and blockchain forensics. In that, I'll even show you some tools and how we use them to, extract wallet related information. Definitely, I'll be covering that in a separate session. Any other questions? Okay, nice speaking to all of you. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ross.
Most welcome.